In my past life, I gave the most powerful clear system to my girlfriend Stella, and kept what everyone called the useless Hoard System for myself. She hid safely in the shelter, living comfortably with Troy, the guy she'd always secretly wanted. I was locked outside, surrounded by zombies, and I died. This time, after my rebirth, she seized the clear system before anyone else could. What she doesn't know, the clear system bleeds your life force with every use, and my Hoard System holds an entire city's worth of supplies. This time, I will use my system to build an absolute survival fortress against the Glacial Apocalypse, and make her pay for everything he's done. I'm reborn 7 days before the apocalypse hits. A boundless, pure white space. Streams of light pulse through it like something out of science fiction. Before me float 2 massive holographic icons, glowing gold. On the left, the Hoard System, infinite subspace. Time frozen inside. Retrieval by thought alone. Cannot store living things. On the right, the clear system. Instantly destroys any designated obstacle within sight, at the cost of stamina. I know this scene by heart. This is the moment Stella and I awakened our systems together. Back in my past life. Back then, I worried about her. She was always so fragile. I figured the Hoard System was too exhausting, always running around collecting things, so I volunteered to take the clear system. Every use left me with a splitting headache, but I charged ahead anyway, clearing paths, holding off zombies, all so she could sit comfortably in the shelter and reap every reward. When I was badly wounded and desperately needed help, the one holding the keys locked me out and left me to die. A bright, sweet voice calls out. Nearby, Stella opens her eyes. Damien, I'm taking the red one. You sure about that? Damien, you've always been the one protecting me. Let me protect you this time. That storage space suits someone careful like you. Just handle the supplies. Protect me? I laugh inwardly. Last time, the only reason I could handle the clear system was because of my elite combat instincts and physical conditioning. Stella can't even open a bottle cap. One use of that system and she'll be bedridden for 3 days. I reach out and touch the golden infinity symbol. Golden light wraps around me. Deep in my mind, a vast door swings open. An infinite, silent subspace locks into my consciousness. In this moment, the feeling of safety I lost comes flooding back. System bound. Host, Damien. Ability, infinite hoarding, beginner level. Comme Stevie. 59 minutes until the apocalypse. The white light fades. I snap awake on the leather sofa in my apartment. Across from me, Stella is awake too. She's beaming, waving her hand at the air to test her new power. The crystal ashtray on the coffee table vanishes into thin air. I let out one quiet word. Leave. Stella's smile freezes. She thinks she misheard. This is my apartment. My name is on the deed. You have 10 minutes to pack your things and get out. Who do you think you are, kicking me out? I've just awakened the most powerful ability. The apocalypse is coming. You really want to cross me right now? When that day comes and you come crawling, don't expect anything from me. So your mighty power is just making your worn-out clothes disappear? Ha! Did you forget? Your ability can only erase things. It can't conjure food from nothing. Ha! So what? I have plenty of ways to get supplies. Anyone who gets in my way, they'll regret it. Is that so? Good luck then. I show her the door. She's gone. That dead weight, finally gone. That snake, always ready to sink a blade in my back. Now I can finally move without holding back. Exactly 7 days until the apocalypse. Right now I have this downtown penthouse worth around 8 million. My parents' savings and investments total roughly 3 million. 11 million total? Not nearly enough. To build a fortress that can hold against temperatures of negative 70 degrees, withstand a zombie horde, and survive a direct missile strike, with enough supplies for one person to live lavishly for several lifetimes. 11 million wouldn't even scratch the surface. I list the penthouse online and sell it fast. Then I make a few calls to private lenders. Loan sharks, basically. I've got my ID and residency papers ready. As long as the money comes fast, I'll accept any terms they throw at me. In a few days, the world ends anyway. No one's coming to collect. In a single afternoon, the penthouse sells for 6 million. Company shares liquidated for 5 million. Every online loan platform and credit card maxed out for 2 million more. Total liquid cash, a staggering 16 million. Tomorrow the loan shark money comes in, at least 3 million more. Staring at those numbers on my banking app, I feel no excitement, only urgency. Money is just paper. Supplies are survival. I walk out the door, get into the SUV I haven't sold yet, and head straight for the abandoned cold chain logistics park in the western suburbs. It used to be the city's largest refrigerated storage facility. Remote location, open terrain all around. Easy to defend, hard to breach. Most importantly, there's a massive underground cold storage chamber. With a few modifications, a perfect natural shelter. The place is overrun with weeds. I find the old caretaker on site and drop a handful of gold coins in front of him. I tell him I want to rent it for 2 weeks to set up a horror escape room. No paperwork, just the keys. The old man's false teeth nearly fall out from grinning so hard. He hands over the keys without a word and pedals home on his tricycle. I step into the massive underground chamber, roughly 3,000 square meters, 8 meters high. System, scan this space. Scan complete, activate space anchor. Once anchored, this space will serve as a real-world transfer station for supplies. All external supplies can be teleported here directly through thought. Location secured, now to fill it. I don't rush to the supermarket like in some amateur zombie story. That's rookie thinking. Instead, I drive straight to the city's largest wholesale agricultural market. I walk into the biggest grain and oil wholesale shop on the street. The owner sits behind the counter, cigarette dangling from his lips, going over the books. He barely glances up when I walk in. What do you want? Retail's at the supermarket down the street. I want rice. I scan the towering stacks of rice sacks around me. What's your price per ton for premium Wuchang rice? How much do you need? How much have you got? In my warehouse, 50 tons of Wuchang rice, 100 tons of standard Northeast rice, 80 tons of flour. Buying for a canteen. I pull out a black card and slap it down on his greasy counter. I want all of it. Cooking oil, dried noodles, mixed grains, every last item you have in stock. On top of that, source me another 500 tons of rice and 300 tons of flour within 3 days. New harvest only. No old stock. Brother, we're talking over 10 million here. You sure about this? One condition, deliver everything to the address I give you. Once it's unloaded, your people leave immediately. No questions asked. The owner's face flushes red. Business has been rough lately. A deal like this is a gift from heaven. I'll get the crew loading right now. Right now. Over the next 3 hours, the entire wholesale market erupts in a frenzy. Fruits, meats, household goods, I buy it all. As night falls, the first convoy of heavy trucks rumbles into the abandoned factory in the western suburbs. The massive storage chamber fills with mountain-sized piles of supplies. I walk up to a 5-meter-high mountain of rice, raise my hand, press my palm against the sacks, and say, "Store." 50 tons of rice vanishes into thin air. I close my eyes and sink my mind into the system space. In that infinite white void, 50 tons of rice floats silently, perfectly holding the same shape it had just moments before, not a single grain disturbed. In here, time doesn't move. Whatever goes in stays exactly as it was. This feeling, commanding everything, holding the world in the palm of my hand, it's intoxicating. But in the apocalypse, food isn't the only priority. There's something even more critical. Heat. Negative 60 degrees. Without a heat source, this food might as well be frozen rock, and I'll become an ice sculpture. I call a friend who deals in coal. Ghost. I need coal. Anthracite. Top grade. 10,000 tons. Also, industrial diesel generators and solar panels, enough to cover every square meter of this factory's roof. I'm not just stocking enough food for 10 lifetimes. I'm turning this place into a temperature-controlled fortress that not even a nuclear bomb can crack. Just then, my phone buzzes. A message. From Stella. It's a photo. In the photo, she and Troy are sitting at a high-end French restaurant, foie gras and red wine laid out between them. Poor Damien. After getting kicked to the curb. I bet you're surviving on instant noodles? Troy and I are celebrating our fresh start. If you get on your knees and beg right now, maybe I'll toss you a piece of bread. Ha! Enjoy it. Eat well. It's the last dinner you'll ever have. I block her and power off my phone. Welding arcs flash wildly across the vast factory floor. The grinding screech of cutting machines fills the air. I stand on the suspended iron walkway on the second floor, a freshly lit cigarette between my fingers. Boss, isn't this a bit extreme? Heck stares at the blueprint packed with dense specifications, his face twisted in disbelief. You want aerospace-grade aerogel insulation 50 centimeters thick on every surface, lined with 2 layers of 20mm ballistic steel plating. Are you building a bunker for a nuclear strike? 2 air intakes only, both with NBC filtration systems. Brother, this is going to cost a fortune. The money's already in your account. $5 million upfront. I need this done in 3 days. One rule, don't ask why, no photos, no posting online. Heck's throat bobs hard. That's 2 full years of his usual profit in a single payment. Boss, you're basically my dad. Heck thumps his chest like a war drum, then spins and bellows down at the workers. All of you, move it. Go strip the insulation panels off that Tiangong development in the next city. Anyone gives you trouble, buy them off. What I'm building isn't just a shelter, it's a self-contained ecosystem, completely separate from the dying world outside. I walk to the far corner of the factory. A new shipment of special cargo has just arrived. The heavy wooden crates are pried open, revealing a deep, cold metallic sheen. Not ordinary steel. These are high-voltage electric fence generators and military-grade blast-proof glass, sourced through channels I'd rather not name. In the early days of the apocalypse, the most dangerous thing isn't zombies, it's people. When hunger and cold reduce human beings to animals, ordinary shutters are no better than paper against a mob. A few thousand volts of electricity, though, that teaches manners very quickly. System. Store all these materials, then position them according to the blueprint. The workers can handle the rough labor, but for the core defensive layout, I trust the system. While the workers are on their meal break, I move with a thought. The massive blast-proof glass panels disappear. Dozens of tons of material vanish in an instant. Then, guided by the system's perfect precision, they slot seamlessly into the skylight openings at the top of the factory. An operation like this doesn't just save hours of crane work, it achieves a level of precision no human craftsmanship can match. The structural work is done. Now for the interior. I drive away from the site, heading straight to the city's largest home furnishings expo center. If I'm going to live through this godforsaken apocalypse, I'm living like a king. No compromises on quality of life. Smart furniture, top-of-the-line luxury pieces, I buy everything in sight. The sales associate follows right behind me, face locked in a frozen grin, pen flying across her notepad, looking at me like I'm a god of fortune. After the furniture, I head to an outdoor equipment store. This is where it gets serious. Top-grade polar survival suits, rated for -80 degrees, 50 sets, men's and women's, tactical boots, Heated gloves, ski goggles, ice axes, multi-tool and trenching tools, every single item on that wall, and every last unit of those self-heating military rations, all of it. Mid-shopping spree, a familiar voice drifts over from the very important person lounge behind me. "Oh babe, what do you think of this jacket? It's a little pricey, over 3,000. I pause and slowly turn my head. Stella is holding a pink fleece jacket up against herself, while Troy sits nearby scrolling his phone, looking bored. "Stella, we need to watch our spending right now. Damien sold the apartment without giving us a single cent. We have to think about the future. I don't bother with them. In a few days, they'll be living worse than stray dogs." Back at the cold storage site, the construction pace is astonishing. In just one day, the wide-open, drafty factory has been transformed into an ironclad fortress. Heavy insulation blankets every inch of the walls, and silver thermal film glitters under the lights. Every window has been sealed shut. Only reinforced ballistic observation slits remain. 3 massive solid steel blast doors stand in sequence at the entrance, each one weighing 2 full tons. "Boss, the thing you asked for." Heck pulls me aside with a conspiratorial air and hands me a heavy, long wooden box. Took some real effort to track this down. A decommissioned breaching axe from the fire department. Had someone retemper and re-edge the blade. "This thing can split a security door clean open now." I open the box. A jet black tactical axe lies inside, its silhouette brutal and beautiful. The blade catches the light with a cold gleam, the handle wrapped in paracord for grip. I give a satisfied nod. As the last construction truck pulls away, the massive iron door closes slowly behind it. I stand at the center of this steel fortress, completely mine, surveying the mountains of supplies packed in around me. On the left, the food zone, 1,000 tons of rice, flour, and cooking oil, enough to last 100 years. On the right, the energy zone, barrels of diesel, mountains of anthracite coal, and row after row of solar battery arrays. In the middle, the living area, unopened luxury furniture, top-end appliances, game discs, and books. The limits of what money can buy through legitimate channels have been reached. But my subspace is still half empty. If I can't buy it, I'll take it. I change into a black tactical suit, strap on my night vision goggles, and clip the tactical axe to my belt. Target, East Harbor Bonded Logistics Center, the largest import-export hub in the city. Tens of thousands of shipping containers stacked on the docks like building blocks, packed with premium goods shipped in from every corner of the world. Australian beef, French wine, Japanese wagyu, even entire shipments of imported luxury cars. Right now, I'm crouched in a blind spot, hidden in shadow, a leopard waiting to strike. System, activate full-range scan mode. An invisible pulse radiates outward from me, blanketing a 500-kilometer radius in an instant. Countless dots of light flicker to life in my mind, each one a shipping container, each tagged with a full inventory of its contents. The moment I spot the pharmaceuticals, my eyes sharpen. In the apocalypse, a single pack of antibiotics is worth more than gold. One thought, and the enormous container packed with medicine, steel shell and all, vanishes from the dock and drops straight into my subspace. The security cameras keep rotating on their timers. The guard dozes in his booth. Nobody notices a thing. In that single instant, strategic supplies worth tens of millions have changed hands. I move like a ghost, drifting through the canyon of containers, and with each flick of my fingers, they vanish one by one. Then I spot something unexpected. A batch of all-terrain snowmobiles ready for export. 20 of them, purpose-built for a frozen apocalypse. A smile tugs at the corner of my mouth. I take every last one. Just as I'm about to leave, a roar of engines tears through the night. Several blacked-out modified SUVs come screaming into the port, skidding to a stop in front of a concealed warehouse nearby. The doors swing open. A dozen men climb out, tattooed, armed with clubs, a few carrying crude homemade firearms. The one in front is a bald slab of muscle, barking at his crew as they haul out cargo. "Move it! Dragon said this shipment has to be out tonight. Cops have been sniffing around." The crates they're hauling are stamped with bold hazardous materials warnings. I narrow my eyes and trigger the system's long-range scan. Scan results: TNT explosives, detonators, industrial ammonium nitrate. This is a smuggling operation run by the Black Shark Gang, the most powerful criminal organization in the city. In my past life, the Black Shark Gang, in the early days of the apocalypse, used their firepower to seize the city's central stadium and establish the notorious Black Shark Camp. In my past life, I would have turned and run. But now, this is a gift delivered right to my door. Since we've crossed paths, I'll be taking that. I quietly circle around to the back of the warehouse using the system's spatial awareness as cover. From here, the warehouse falls perfectly within the system's retrieval range. System, lock onto every explosive in that warehouse. Take all of it. Inside the warehouse, the men hauling crates feel a sudden lurch. The heavy boxes in their hands simply cease to exist. Not just what they were carrying, the dozens of crates stacked on the floor, the safes packed full of detonators, all of it gone, without a trace. Dead silence. A dozen gangsters frozen mid-lift, clutching nothing but air, staring at each other in bewilderment. The moment is profoundly awkward. "Dragon, it's gone! Everything's gone! Who did this? Show yourself!" He yanks out his handgun and waves it wildly at the empty air. By then I'm already gone. That same day, the Weather Bureau issues a blue cold to wave alert. Temperatures expected to drop 10 to 15 degrees by tomorrow. Nobody takes it seriously. People think, just throw on an extra layer. I don't go out again. I stay inside the fortress. Every door and window has been welded shut. Only the main entrance remains. The diesel generators are warmed up. ready to come online at a moment's notice. The first load of anthracite is already stacked in the massive fireplace. On the living room table, I set up a copper hot pot, sliced the grade 9 Wagyu I took from the port, washed fresh vegetables, and set a properly decanted bottle of Lafite beside it. I opened my phone and checked social media one last time. Stella posted an hour ago, a photo of herself in a thin evening dress on an open terrace, the glittering city skyline behind her. The caption reads, "Winter's coming, but my heart is warm. Thank you for the surprise. The future looks bright. Some people can just rot away with their dirty money." I smile and leave one comment. "Enjoy the breeze. It's the last one you'll ever feel." I pull my SIM card out and toss it into the fireplace. Just then, the light drizzle outside stops. Then, thud, a hailstone the size of a ping-pong ball slams into the blast-proof glass with a deep, heavy knock. A torrent of hail follows, hammering down like gunfire, with a howling gale right behind it. The temperature begins to plummet, fast. An emergency alert flashes across my screen. Breaking, a catastrophic polar vortex event is driving global temperatures down by 50 degrees within the next 3 hours. All citizens must return home immediately. This is not a drill. 10 minutes. The world outside changes color. Wind and snow tear through the streets. Not soft romantic snowflakes, but razor-edged shards of ice, shredding everything left exposed. I sit in the fortress's monitoring room, watching the outside world unfold across dozens of live screens. The factory is on the outskirts, but through the high-definition cameras I can see the carnage on the distant highway. The road surface is iced over in black ice within minutes. Outside temperature has already dropped below -30 degrees, and is still falling at 1 degree per minute. Meanwhile, in a high-end downtown apartment, Stella is wrapped in her newly purchased cashmere blanket, and still shaking violently. Her once flawless face is deathly pale, her lips turning purple. The entire building's heating system has just gone down. Pipes burst. The indoor temperature has already dropped to -5. "Do something, we're going to freeze to death!" She shoves Troy beside her. "Stop yelling, I'm cold too! How did the weather flip this fast? Find the hand warmers, hurry!" They scramble through every drawer and bag, fewer than 10 hand warmers left between them. Not enough to last the night. "Wait, Damien!" Troy's eyes light up with sudden realization. "Damien has money. He's got to be in some hotel or he bought heating gear. Call him, quick!" Stella grabs this lifeline with both hands, fingers trembling as she dials my number. "We're sorry. The number you have dialed is currently switched off." Stella hurls her phone at the sofa in fury. "That bastard actually turned his phone off. Wait, I remember. Didn't he mention the western suburbs? He said he rented a factory out there. He's definitely hiding there. Let's go find him. In this blizzard, if we don't go, we're already dead." The two bundle up in every piece of clothing they own, fight their way downstairs, and dive into the car. "Drive, western suburbs. Make him kneel in the snow and beg me to forgive him for how he treated me." Back in the western suburbs, I'm watching a corner of the surveillance feed. A few stray dogs are huddled together shivering, then their eyes flood red, and their fangs begin to lengthen before my eyes. This is no ordinary virus. This is the permafrost zombie virus. I check the time. By my estimate, it'll take Stella and Troy about 2 hours to reach me. That's assuming they don't freeze to death on the way, or get eaten by zombies. I hope they make it. This show deserves an audience. I stand up and walk to the control panel. I press the red button. Combat defense mode, level 1, activate. The outer perimeter's high-voltage electric fence crackles to life in an instant, blue arcs of electricity snapping and popping through the blizzard like a great web waiting for prey. And behind that web, I raise my wine glass toward the storm on the screen. A quiet toast. The blizzard has become a white catastrophe. Visibility is under 5 meters. The wind screams like 10,000 steel blades tearing through the air. A white BMW X5 crawls like a drunk man along a road buried under half a meter of snow. "Why aren't we there yet? You said it was only 20 kilometers. Shut up." Troy's hands on the steering wheel have gone numb, mottled blue-purple with frostbite. Navigation says it's right ahead. I just can't see the road. A sharp crack. The car lurches violently downward. Then the engine dies completely. The undercarriage has been caught on a ridge of hardened ice in the middle of the road. At this temperature, the drive shaft snaps from pure brittleness. "The car's dead!" Troy slams the steering wheel in despair, and his fist hits the frozen leather cover, drawing a hiss of pain from between his teeth. Stella screams, "Are you trying to get me killed? You useless piece of trash! Get out, that dark shape ahead. That has to be the factory." We walk. When the hulking silhouette of the factory finally rises out of the blizzard before them, the two of them have practically crawled to the entrance on their knees. But the sight that greets them stops them cold. This is no abandoned factory. This is a steel fortress. "Damien, I know you're in there. Open the door." Stella throws herself at the massive, solid steel door, pounding on it with both fists. I'm reclined on my leather sofa, facing the full wall of surveillance screens. 2 dim red heat signatures cling to the gate, like a pair of pathetic flies. I swirl my freshly decanted glass of Lafite. In the small copper pot beside me, crimson broth rolls at a boil, tripe bobbing in and out of the bubbling broth, filling the air with a maddening, spicy aroma. "System, activate the external speaker." It's activated. Who's there? Banging on doors in the middle of the night? Don't you know that's disturbing the peace? "Damien, it's me. I'm your girlfriend. Open up, it's freezing out here. We're going to die. These tripe slices are slightly overcooked." I pause. "Sorry, who is this?" Outside, Stella nearly chokes. She's freezing like a dog out there, and he's inside eating hotpot. With tripe. I know you can hear me. It's Stella. Open the door. Once I'm inside, I'll explain everything. It was all a misunderstanding. I set down my chopsticks and pick up the mic. The slap was a misunderstanding? Telling me to get out was a misunderstanding? Or letting me die like a dog in front of your door, was that a misunderstanding too? Those were words said in anger. Damien, you're a man. Why are you so petty? I was wrong before, I admit it. I'm apologizing now. Isn't that enough? If apology solved everything, we wouldn't need laws. You have the clear system, don't you? This door bothering you? Clear it. Fine. If you won't open it, I'll open it myself. And don't you dare come crawling to me after. A flash of cold fury crosses Stella's eyes. She draws a deep breath. Though her fingers are half frozen and barely responding, she slams her palm against the steel door. Energy surges through her body. Clear! A burst of red light explodes from her palm, slamming into the door with full force. But the door does not disappear. Instead, the red light hits something invisible and bounces straight back, the shockwave sending Stella's arm numb as she stumbles backward and falls hard into the snow. System warning, target density exceeds threshold. Target is reinforced by high-level energy. Forced removal will consume life force. My laughter crackles through the external speaker without a trace of mercy. Let me tell you something. That door is made from aerospace-grade alloy, 5 million worth, and it seems my system naturally counters yours. Your clear ability can't touch anything my Hoard system has reinforced. A hiss, and the speaker cuts off. Then the floodlights above the gate blaze on, 2 blinding beams hitting them dead in the face. They can't even open their eyes. Stella sits in the snow, the cold biting into her bones, staring at the door that will never open for her, feeling true despair for the very first time in her life. Half an hour passes. Stella and Troy haven't left, not because they won't, but because they can't. The car is dead. Out here in the middle of nowhere, walking back is a death sentence. Just then a mechanical hum starts up somewhere above their heads. They struggle to lift their faces upward. 3 meters up the wall, a ventilation duct slowly opens, and a scent so rich and overpowering it feels almost spiritual drifts out. Beef tallow hot pot broth mixed with the aroma of simmering lamb, with a thread of fresh scallion woven through it. In this world of rot and frozen air, that smell is a temptation from heaven itself. Stella swallows involuntarily. Her throat is parched raw. Troy's stomach lets out a thunderous growl. Hungry? That voice again, smooth and merciless. I'm standing on the second floor terrace, holding the half-finished bowl of hot pot, looking down at the 2 dying figures below with the calm detachment of someone watching stray dogs beg for scraps. Please, just one bite, one sip of hot broth. Troy finally breaks. Dignity, pride, all of it meaningless against the survival instinct. He drops to his knees in the snow and kowtows desperately toward me. I smile and casually pick up a freshly cooked slice of beef with my chopsticks, then let go. It lands with a wet slap in the snow, right in front of them, swallowed by dirty slush. Troy lunges for it on pure instinct, but Stella is faster. This woman who wouldn't drink anything less than Evian water in her daily life now lunges like a wild animal, snatching up the meat smeared with dirty snow and shoves it into her mouth without even blowing on it. The heat scalds her tongue, but she refuses to spit it out and swallows it whole without chewing. Good? Stella nods, tears streaming down her face, completely unaware of how she looks. Glad you like it. Have more. I pick up a basin of leftovers, bones, peppercorns, chili skins, and a few soggy wilted leaves, and tip it all out from the window above, pouring it directly into the small sheltered nook where they're huddled. The scalding liquid hits the negative 40-degree ground and freezes instantly. A sheet of solid ice. The one dry patch of ground where they could barely stand is now a skating rink. I say without a trace of sincerity. Now that you've eaten, you'd better run. My security system is picking up some visitors. Seems the smell drew them in. Before they can process that, out in the blizzard ahead, a cluster of glowing green eyes blink to life. A low, guttural growl rides the wind toward them. The mutated zombie dogs. Run, run! Troy reacts first, grabbing Stella by the arm and bolting. But the ground is a sheet of ice. Both feet give way, and they crash face first into the snow. That one stumble is all it takes. The first zombie dog is already on them. A mutated Tibetan Mastiff, massive as a bull, rotting flesh crusted with ice. Its gaping jaws snap shut on Troy's thigh. Troy lets out a shriek like a man being slaughtered. In that split second of desperation, something cold and calculating flashes in Troy's eyes. He grabs Stella without hesitation, shoves her directly into the creature's jaws and uses the momentum to roll clear. What are you doing? Stella screams in pure terror. The massive reeking maw closes in on her throat. Life and death, one single moment, and the will to survive overwhelms every other feeling. Stella's eyes go wide, locked onto the massive dog head lunging straight at her face. The red icon in her mind flashes like crazy. Disappear! She screams inside. This time the target isn't a steel door weighing several tons. It's a living creature. The giant Tibetan Mastiff skull, just 1 centimeter from Stella's nose, suddenly explodes, erased from existence. All that's left is half a headless dog carcass, which slams into Stella by sheer momentum, nearly crushing the life out of her. But she survives, and she discovers something. Her system, while it can't open doors, is absolutely lethal against things like this. Upstairs I lower my binoculars, a flicker of amusement crossing my eyes. I'm not surprised Stella managed to turn the tables. That's an S-rank combat ability she's got. If she died this easily, where's the fun in what comes next? Since they won't leave on their own, I'll give them a way out. My voice cuts through again. 200 meters east, there's a security booth. Used to be the old guard's place. The glass is broken, but at least it has a roof. That's your only shot at surviving the night. With that, the window shuts completely, the lights go dark. Left behind in the darkness are two shivering figures, surrounded by a growing ring of glowing green eyes. Move! Security booth! Stella shoves the dog carcass off her and staggers to her feet. She doesn't even look at Troy. She hasn't forgotten that shove. In the final second before the zombie dog pack closes in, the two of them scramble and crawl toward the crumbling security booth. The booth is tiny, open to the wind on all sides. Half the window glass is already shattered, and the door won't close all the way. But compared to the open snowfield outside, it at least offers some small, miserable comfort. They use scraps of wood and torn newspaper to block the windows, then collapse onto the dusty floor, gasping. You okay? Troy reaches over and tries to take her hand, a coaxing smile on his face. Earlier, I was trying to push it away, not push you. Don't get the wrong idea. Get away from me. Stella shakes him off with cold precision, her eyes ice cold. After what just happened, the innocent, delicate facade she'd always worn finally cracks, and what shows through is pure, selfish calculation. Don't think I don't know what's going on in your head. Troy, I kept you around because you were good-looking and smart. Right now, you're worthless. From this point on, if you ever dare lay a hand on me again, I'll take your head off just like that dog's. Troy goes rigid. He stares at the blood-smeared side of Stella's face, a flash of venom in his eyes, quickly buried. He knows. Stella holds the clear system now, and while it can't conjure food, it could erase him without breaking a sweat. He has no choice but to endure. Hunger hits again. That tiny scrap of beef from earlier burned off long ago. The brutal cold is draining every last calorie from their bodies. Look around. Someone lived here once. Maybe there's something to eat. Troy, desperate to prove his worth, starts rummaging through the garbage heap of a booth. Just when he's about to give up, in a corner under the bed, his fingers find something hard. He pulls it out. A sausage link that had fallen into the gap. The casing is gnawed through in one spot, frozen rock solid like a chunk of red stone. To Troy, it's priceless. Instinct kicks in. He moves to stuff it inside his jacket. Hand it over. Stella's cold voice cuts in from behind. Troy freezes, then turns with a forced laugh. Look what I found. How about we split it? Give it to me. Stella holds out her hand, a faint red glow pulsing in her palm. The threat is unmistakable. Troy grits his teeth and passes it over. Stella snatches it and has zero intention of splitting anything. She tears the wrapper off, germs be damned, and bites straight in. The frozen sausage cuts her gums and draws blood, but the taste of starch and meat makes her half mad with relief. She wolfs down 2/3 in a few bites, leaving only a small stub at the end. Watching Troy's desperate dog-like eyes, Stella lets out a cold snort and flings the leftover stub at him like throwing scraps to a beggar. Consider yourself lucky. From now on, whatever you find comes to me first. My leftovers are what you eat. Troy picks up the dusty stub, shoves it in his mouth, plastic casing and all, and chews it down. He keeps his head low. Nobody sees the hatred burning in his eyes. Stella, you just wait. The moment I get a power of my own, or the moment this cursed snow stops, you're going to regret this. Meanwhile, 200 meters away in the basement of my safe house, I'm stretched out in a heated whirlpool bath, tablet in hand. The public internet is down, but my military-grade satellite receiver is still pulling in signals from around the world. On the screen, global headlines scroll New York in a state of emergency, Manhattan encased in ice, Tokyo descending into mass riots, the self-defense forces going dark, and from China an emergency broadcast. The nation has activated its highest-level emergency protocols. Official shelters are open across all regions. Local shelter location, City East Sports Center. I stare at those coordinates, tapping the edge of the tub with one finger. In my past life, that place was the largest official stronghold in the early days. But precisely because it drew so many people, supplies burned through fast. And with management in chaos, the granary riot broke out in under a month, tens of thousands dead. And that's when Stella, using her ability to clear obstacles, became nothing but a tool for the official engineering crew, forced to clear ice-buried roads every day in exchange for half a steamed bun. It seems history hasn't changed. I close the news and pull up the system interface. Total stockpile, 32,000 tons. System level, LV1. Experience, 10%. Upgrade requirement, collect 10 level 1 zombie crystal cores. I stand up out of the tub. In my past life, people didn't figure out until the 3rd month of the apocalypse that the crystal cores inside zombie skulls could be used to upgrade abilities. I know it now. Most zombies haven't evolved crystal cores yet, but mutated animals, like those dogs from earlier, have a solid chance of carrying them. That fool Stella. So focused on killing the dog to survive, she left the most valuable prize behind in the snow. That's my experience points. Can't let them go to waste. I dry off, change into a lightweight nanothermal combat suit, pick up my tactical axe, and decide to take a walk. On this first night of the blizzard, time to collect my first windfall, and maybe check whether those 2 guard dogs in the security booth have frozen to death yet. 3 in the morning. The blizzard eases slightly, but the temperature has locked in at a brutal, unforgiving -50 degrees Celsius. This is dead zone territory. At this temperature, even steel turns brittle as glass, shattering with a single tap. But on the wasteland of the western outskirts, a dark figure is moving. This is the specialized gear I paid a fortune to acquire. A thin layer of graphene fabric, threaded through with micro-heating filaments, powered by the nuclear power cell at my waist, keeping my skin at a comfortable 25 degrees Celsius at all times. The helmet has infrared thermal imaging and night vision. The respirator filters out any permafrost zombie virus in the air. My matte black tactical axe hangs from one hand, every step pressing into the snow with a crisp crunch. 50 meters ahead, the zombie dog pack that attacked Stella earlier hasn't dispersed. They're circling the security booth, claws scraping the metal walls now and then, sending a teeth-grinding screech through the air. 7 of them total. Through the thermal imaging display, I calmly mark each target. These zombie dogs are vicious, but right now they're at their most relaxed. The extreme cold hasn't killed them, but it's locked up their joints. They're moving at least 30% slower than normal. This is the moment. I burst from behind the snowbank, a black streak of lightning. The first zombie dog is still growling at the booth. It never even registers what's coming. My axe arrives first. Kill, level 1 zombie dog. Experience +5. The sound alerts the other 6 instantly. The lead dog, the largest of the mutated Tibetan Mastiffs, snaps its head around. Those eerie green glowing eyes locked onto me. It kicks off with its back legs, its massive body barreling toward me like a tank. The moment the Mastiff closes to within half a meter, jaws wide open, lunging for my throat. Take it! My left hand snaps open, aimed at the ground beneath its feet. In that instant, a 2-meter wide slab of thick ice beneath the Mastiff, along with the frozen earth underneath, simply vanishes. A trap technique I developed through repeated experimentation. Where solid ground stood a moment ago, a pit 3 meters deep opens up in an instant. The charging Mastiff finds nothing under its feet, and its own momentum sends it straight in, slamming into the bottom with bone-breaking force. A sharp crack echoing upward. Without a moment's hesitation, I drop in after it, my tactical axe carving a clean half-moon arc through the air. A snarling dog head rolls away. Kill, elite zombie dog. Experience +20. Item dropped, level 1 power crystal core time zone. A rush of satisfaction. No time to deal with the remaining small fry. I crouch down, fighting back disgust. Gloved fingers digging into the shattered skull, searching. In moments, I pull out a crystal no bigger than a fingernail, radiating a faint red glow. This is the hardest currency of the apocalypse. A crystal core, the source of zombie power and the key to human evolution. In my past life, one level 1 crystal core traded for 1 ton of rice. Above the pit, the remaining 5 zombie dogs bark furiously, but the drop keeps them from following me in. I look up, a cold grin spreading across my face. Don't rush, one at a time, you're all my experience points. A thought, and from subspace I draw a modified nail gun, hooked up to a high-pressure gas cylinder. The next 5 minutes are a one-sided slaughter. I climb out of the pit and check every carcass. Good haul, 3 crystal cores total. I shift my gaze to the security booth nearby. Silence. I walk over and kick the busted door open. Only a few scattered footprints on the floor, trailing off toward the highway. Scratched into the wall with a fingernail, a crooked line of text. Damien, just you wait. I let out a disdainful laugh. In this apocalypse, surviving is often more painful than dying, especially for 2 people with egos the size of mountains and lives as fragile as paper. I turn and walk away, my silhouette swallowed by the storm. My next destination, First People's Hospital in the city center. Not just zombies there, there's something else I urgently need, antiviral serum. While Stella is selling her dignity for 2 sausage links, I'm riding my all-terrain snowmobile at full speed across the ruins of the city. Streets that once bustled with life are now buried under meters of ice and snow. I'm riding at the level of the streetlight tops. Beneath the ice, countless vehicles and bodies are sealed in. A colossal amber museum. The hospital building looms silently in the dark, most of its windows shattered. The plaza at the entrance is packed wall to wall with frozen zombies. Most are locked in the postures of their final moments, queuing for registration or mid-flight, flash frozen by cold and desperation alike. But I know, they aren't dead. The moment they sense the heat of a living body, they'll wake up instantly. System, activate silent field. I spend a small amount of energy, forming a 1-meter sound-dampening layer around my body, moving like a gecko. I use the grappling hook to bypass the first-floor lobby entirely, and scale straight up to a 3rd-floor window. 3rd floor, pharmacy. I slip through the window. Far fewer zombies here, just a handful of mutated figures in nurse uniforms drifting aimlessly. Tactical axe out, I move in without a sound. 2 clean strikes. Done. I step up to the pharmacy shelves, take it all. My hand sweeps across. Row after row of medicine vanishes in an instant. Antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, painkillers, insulin, blood pressure meds. Doesn't matter what. Collect first, sort later. Halfway through the sweep, a burst of gunfire erupts from below. In the dead silence of night, it hits like a thunderclap. I frown and move to the window to look down. 2 modified armored vehicles crash through the hospital gates and barrel into the plaza. 7 or 8 heavily armed thugs pour out, AK-47s and shotguns in hand, spraying wildly at the zombies closing in around them. Move! Blast the main doors open! Boss says all we need is the blood bank plasma and the pharmacy meds. Everything else, leave it, the scarred leader bellows. By the muzzle flash, I make out the emblem on their vehicles, a black shark, the Black Shark Gang. So they figured out how valuable medicine is, and came to raid under cover of night. I don't rush to leave. Instead, I find a comfortable angle against the window, and watch the show below through the blinds. The Black Shark Gang has serious firepower, and with the zombies slowed by the cold, they clear a path quickly and head straight for the lobby elevator. But they've made one fatal mistake. The noise. Not just the zombies in the plaza, but everything in the surrounding blocks, and whatever is lurking in the hospital basement, has been woken up. The moment the Black Shark gang rushes into the lobby, the floor erupts. A massive zombie, over 3 meters tall, muscles coiled across its frame, skin the color of iron ash, crashes up through the underground parking level. Unlike the gaunt, withered look of ordinary zombies, this one is bloated with raw power, a living Hulk. Level 2 mutant, the Tyrant, strength type. My eyes narrow slightly. A level 2 mutant this soon? Figures. A place soaked in death like a hospital breeds monsters fast. What the hell is that thing? The Black Shark gang freezes in terror, then multiple AKs open up at once. The bullets hit the Tyrant and barely draw a few specks of blood. They can't penetrate the muscle. The Tyrant lets out a roar, grabs a nearby hospital bed and hurls it like a frisbee. 2 Black Shark thugs are flattened instantly. The scene collapses into chaos. The thugs who were strutting around just moments ago are now screaming and scrambling for the exit. Perfect. My eyes light up. I'm not interested in the Black Shark gang's lives. I want the Tyrant's level 2 crystal core. That thing can push me straight to the next level, and most likely unlock a new ability. It's a top-tier drop, and those 2 Black Shark vehicles are worth having. Professionally modified armored vehicles, far better than my snowmobile for hauling people and cargo. I wait for the Black Shark gang to wear the Tyrant down, and for the Tyrant to finish off the Black Shark gang. 5 minutes later, the lobby goes quiet. The Black Shark gang is wiped out, and the Tyrant is badly wounded. I leap from the 3rd floor, and in midair I pull a bundle of TNT explosives from subspace. Fuse already burning. Here's a gift. I adjust my angle midair and pitch the bundle straight into the Tyrant's gaping mouth. The Tyrant's instinct kicks in. It bites down, thinking it's food. I hit the ground rolling to absorb the impact and dive behind a massive support column. The explosion shakes the entire building. When the dust clears, a massive headless body lies on the floor. I walk over and sift through the wreckage, and finally, buried in a scorched mass of soft tissue, I find one the size of a walnut, radiating a deep blue glow. A crystal core. Acquired level 2 power crystal core ×1. High purity energy source detected. Absorb and upgrade now? Yes. The crystal core dissolves into a surge of warmth that pours through my palm. I feel every bone in my body crackling, power surging through every fiber, my perception doubling in an instant. System upgrade complete. Current level 2. New ability unlocked. Spaceblade. Spaceblade consumes mental energy to create a spatial rift up to 1 meter in length in physical space, ignoring all physical defense and cutting through any material. I stare at my palm. A single thought, and a razor-thin line, black as ink, materializes at my fingertip. I draw it lightly across the heavy armor plating of a nearby vehicle, like cutting through tofu, and the hardened steel parts in a perfectly smooth line. Absurdly powerful. I pull the ability back, satisfied. I turn to the 2 armored vehicles, engines still running, and take everything. Vehicles, supplies, all of it. This hospital run netted me medicine, a level up, and a surprise windfall on top of that. This is how the apocalypse is supposed to go. I swing onto the snowmobile, engine roaring, and ride off into the dark. Day 15 of the apocalypse. City Esports Center. The air inside has long since stopped moving, thick with the suffocating stench of decay, the sour reek of waste, and the musty rot of despair. A stadium that once held 50,000 now shelters fewer than 30,000. What passed for order has already collapsed. When the generator finally died last night, the last flicker of civilization went with it. There's no food left. Open the warehouse. The officers are hoarding it for themselves while we chew bark. The riot erupts without warning. Thousands of hunger-crazed survivors break through the guard line and surge toward the command zone like a rising tide. Gunshots, screams, and the sounds of tearing flesh all blur into one. Stella huddles in a corner of the stands, gripping a snow shovel with a long, blunted blade. The past week has been a living hell. Her once fair hands are covered in frostbite sores and blood blisters. The clear system has become her only lifeline, but it's also made her a beast of burden. Troy comes running, face smeared with blood. He snatched a fire axe in the chaos, eyes burning with the look of a cornered wolf. Word is the zombie tide has broken through the outer perimeter. This place is about to turn into a death trap. We run. Run where? Stella stares out at the raging blizzard, hollow with despair. It's -60 out there. Stepping outside is a death sentence. West District. We find Damien. I've thought it through. Just the 2 of us going won't work. But what if we bring thousands of people with us? No fortress can hold off an army and thousands of desperate people. Commander Wang still has armored vehicles and heavy weapons. If you tell him there's a fully stocked underground fortress out west, warm, with power, what do you think he'll do? Something shifts in Stella's eyes. Despair curdling into venom, then hardening into a kind of savage resolve. Why should I suffer in hell while he lives like a king? 10 minutes later, the command office. Commander Wang is sweating through his collar, ordering his men to destroy files as he prepares to flee. Sir, I know somewhere. Stella barges in, not even flinching at the gun barrel pointed at her face, shouting, I know where there are supplies. I know where there are supplies. Tens of thousands of tons, plus generators, plus a fully fortified base. What did you say? If you're lying, I'll put a bullet in you right now. I'm not lying. Stella speaks in a breathless rush to sound credible. He's a Hoard System awakened. Before the apocalypse, he emptied every cold storage facility in the city. It's in the West District, in the abandoned. Take that place and we survive. Every single one of us. Commander Wang's eyes light up, the gleam of greed reborn from desperation. Good. Very good. He snatches the map from the desk and slams his palm down on the Western District. Pass the word. Everyone listen up. Anyone who doesn't want to die, anyone who doesn't want to starve. Follow me. Target West District. Whoever breaks through gets to take whatever they want. The mob that was tearing itself apart seconds ago instantly finds a common cause. Class rage swells to fill the void and becomes the most powerful force holding this army of the desperate together. Half an hour later, a convoy of 5 armored vehicles leading the charge, followed by over a dozen modified trucks, with thousands of survivors streaming behind, plunges into the blizzard. They carry guns, axes, steel pipes, anything, eyes burning with the twin flames of envy and survival. Stella rides in the lead vehicle, clutching a compressed biscuit Commander Wang gave her, a cruel smile pulling at the corner of her mouth. Damien, this time I'm bringing an army to your door. Let's see you keep the door shut now. At the rear of the column, drawn by the scent of the living, a tide of zombies follows in silence. No alarms go off. I silenced those a long time ago. I stand at the second-floor ballistic floor-to-ceiling window in a crisp black tactical coat, a glass of red wine in hand, like an elegant conductor overlooking the long column crawling through the snow below. The system interface flashes a warning. I watch the surveillance screen fill with red dots, and my mouth curves upward. Large-scale hostile force detected approaching. Enemy composition: 5 armored vehicles, 3 heavy machine guns, 2 RPG rocket launchers, 12 awakened, 3,000 plus armed fighters trailing behind, 5,000 plus level 1 zombie horde, 3 level 2 mutants. They really think highly of me. I take a slow sip of wine. That force could take the capital of a small nation, but I'm not worried in the slightest. If anything, I'm a little excited. These past few days cooped up at home have been mind-numbingly dull, nothing but leveling abilities, and watching old films. The thrill of dancing on the edge of a blade, that's the real pleasure of the apocalypse. The rumble of armored engines drowns out the blizzard. Over the loudspeaker, Commander Wang's voice booms with authority. Convoy halt at 500 meters from the facility. Attention, occupant inside. We are the official rescue unit of Shelter 7. We are hereby requisitioning your supplies and shelter under emergency authority. Disarm immediately and open the gates. If you cooperate, we will grant you the title of Special Advisor and guarantee your safety. Special slave, you mean? Commander Wang's expression darkens. He didn't expect this kind of response. Fine, the hard way then. He waves a hand. Stella, you said you could break through. Get up there and talk to him. Show him what real pressure looks like. She takes the megaphone and climbs on top of the armored vehicle. The freezing wind nearly knocks her over, but the hatred in her eyes burns like a flame. You're surrounded. Look at all these people. They're all starving to death. I shake my head and rest a finger lightly on a red button on the control panel. You're sitting on all these supplies alone. Doesn't your conscience bother you? Open the doors now. And people might still think kindly of you. Otherwise, when we break in, you'll be torn to pieces. You're still this naive. Wang, out of patience, barks the order. Think bringing all these people here is a threat to me? No, you just delivered me a human shield wall. Space refraction field. The rocket behaves as if it has struck a mirror. It bends back the way it came and slams directly into one of their own trucks. Boom! A wall of fire erupts. The truck packed with fighters is blasted into scrap, shrapnel and body parts raining through the air. What? Everyone freezes in shock. Return fire! Open up! A torrent of bullets hammers the walls, but they only scratch sparks, barely chipping the paint. I snap my fingers. My turn. And press the button. Defense system online. Minefield armed. The snow beneath the lead fighters collapses. Not into ordinary holes, but into a field of hundreds of directional high-explosive anti-personnel mines. Chain detonations ripple through the air like a string of firecrackers, and the snow turns red in an instant. Hundreds of people are gone before they can even scream. The crowd surges backward in terror, but those behind are still pushing forward. Instant pandemonium. And then, something even worse happens. A deafening roar rises from the snowfield at the rear. The 5,000 zombies drawn in by the blasts and the smell of blood finally bare their teeth. No longer drifting aimlessly, driven wild by the blood, they crash into the rear of the crowd like rabid dogs. Help! Zombies! There are zombies behind us! Minefields and an indestructible fortress in front, an endless zombie tide at the back. This so-called expeditionary force has become the meat inside the sandwich. Stella, use your ability. Clear the minefield now. Commander Wang, frantic, presses his gun to Stella's head. Stella shakes uncontrollably. She pushes everything she has into clear system, reaching forward. A few mines vanish, but the minefield is enormous, and her mental energy is a drop against an ocean. In under a minute, blood pours from her nose, and she collapses onto the roof of the vehicle. Useless! Commander Wang kicks her off the vehicle, dives back inside, and tries to turn the armored car around and flee, as if I'd let him run. You came all this way, at least leave something behind. I stand on the terrace, right hand raised, closing my fist toward the turning armored vehicle. Space blade, cut! A black rift, visible to the naked eye, tears through the air. No sound at all. The armored vehicle, weighing over 10 tons, is sliced clean in half at the middle, the cut smooth as a mirror. Every component inside is laid bare. Every fighter and every zombie alike seems to freeze, stunned by the sheer force of that single strike. The battle lasts 3 full hours. Aside from a handful who flee into the deep snow under cover of chaos, the 3,000-plus strong force is essentially wiped out. The snow stops. A pale, washed-out moon hangs at the edge of the sky, casting its light over this earthly hell. In front of the gates, only 2 living people remain, Stella and Troy. They got lucky. Being kicked off the vehicle at the start meant they missed the first blast wave, and hiding under the wreckage of the armored car and playing dead kept them alive until now. But now, there's nowhere to go, because I'm standing right in front of them. The gate slowly opens. I'm not in combat gear, just a thin black shirt, tactical axe in hand, military boots on the ground, walking toward them one steady step at a time. Each footfall lands like a weight on their hearts. Stella is on her knees, face drenched in blood, hands frozen blue-purple. She crawls toward me on all fours. I was wrong. I really was wrong. I was forced into this. It was Commander Wang. He made me do it. You know me, I'm terrified of everything. That's right, they forced us both. Troy drops to his knees and kowtows frantically. Damien, please. For the sake of what we had, just let me go. I'll serve you like a slave, for the rest of my life. I stop 2 meters in front of them. From subspace I pull out a table and chairs, then a small clay hotpot stove. I light it, set the pot, pour in the broth, and drop in the base. Within moments, the rich, spicy aroma drifts out and cuts through the smell of blood. I even produce a plate of thinly sliced lamb and begin swishing pieces through the broth, taking my time. Hungry? I lift a piece of meat with my chopsticks and blow on it gently. Stella and Troy both swallow hard, eyes full of longing, and more than that, fear. I place the meat in my mouth and chew slowly, savoring every bite. In my past life, I begged you the same way. Through that door, I begged you for a sip of water. Even a bite of an expired cracker would have done. What did you say? Stella trembles, unable to speak. You said supplies were for people who mattered. That trash like me wasn't even worth the air. I set down my chopsticks, my eyes going colder than the ice and snow around us. Now I'm giving those words back to you. I rise to my feet. The tactical axe catches the moonlight with a cold gleam. Troy, I call his name. Yes, I'm here. Troy snaps his head up, thinking there's hope. You said you loved Stella. Said you'd die for her. Is that right? Troy hesitates, glancing at Stella beside him. Kill her, and I'll let you inside. Hot pot, a warm room. I'll even give you an evolution serum. Make you an awakened. A dagger lands in the snow in front of Troy. He won't! Stella stares at Troy in horror, scrambling backward. You won't do it! Troy looks at the dagger, then at the warm, lit-up fortress behind me, then at the filthy, broken woman in front of him. Sorry about this. Troy snatches up the dagger and lunges at Stella, face twisted with desperation. You heard him. If you die, I live. You don't have anything left anyway. Just die for me once. Is that too much to ask? Stella screams, survival instinct driving her to unleash. One last burst of power, the clear system. Her mental energy is nearly gone, but the strike connects. The dagger vanishes from Troy's hand, but his body is already on top of her, both hands locked around her throat. Die! Die! Get out of my way! They writhe together in the blood-soaked snow, tearing at each other like animals. I watch in cold silence, as though observing a farce, until both collapse, heaving, utterly spent. Stella's face is bitten raw. Troy has lost the sight in one eye. Well played. I give a slow clap. But I lied. I walk up to them and raise the axe. My safe house has never taken in trash. Their screams of despair cut through the frozen air. The axe comes down. The debts of this lifetime are finally settled. I don't linger, don't spare the bodies a second glance. I go back inside. The fireplace is burning strong. I walk to the floor-to-ceiling window and look out at the blizzard still raging beyond the glass. From the liquor cabinet I take out a bottle of aged whiskey and pour 2 glasses. One I pour onto the floor, for the fool I was in my past life. The other I raise to the sky, a toast to this brutal, magnificent new world. This time, I made it.